You might believe that shade spells doom for plant life, but that's far from the truth. In fact, understanding the type of shade in your garden is the first key to unlock the potential of those dim corners. Let's dive into the types of shade you might encounter. First, there's light shade. This is when a location is open to the sky but screened from direct sunlight for most of the day by an obstacle like a high wall or building. It's like a soft shadow cast on a sunny day. Plants here get a fair share of indirect sunlight, which is just enough for many varieties to thrive. Next, we have partial shade. This is when an area gets direct sunlight for only part of the day. Imagine a garden space that's bathed in sunlight at dawn or dusk but shielded during the peak hours. This is a common scenario in many gardens, and a whole host of plants are partial to this kind of light. Last but not least, there's full shade. This is where direct sunlight is blocked all day. It's like those areas under dense trees or close to north-facing walls. Full shade might seem challenging for plant growth, but fear not. There are plenty of plants that not only survive but flourish in these conditions, so don't be dismayed by the shadows. Understanding the type of shade in your garden is the first step towards creating a lush, green oasis. Let's turn those supposedly doomed dark corners into thriving, vibrant spaces. Remember, it's not about fighting the shade, it's about working with it. Just like every superhero needs the right kind of fuel, every shade-loving plant needs the right soil and moisture. Now let's dig into the earthy world of soil and moisture. For your shade garden, the soil is more than just dirt. It's the foundation of life for your plants. The two key factors to consider are the soil type and the moisture control. Loamy soil, which is a balanced mix of sand, silt, and clay, is often the superhero of soils. It retains moisture but also drains well, preventing waterlogging. It's also rich in nutrients and easy to work with. But what if you don't have loamy soil? Don't worry, you can improve your soil by adding organic matter like compost or well-rotted manure. This not only boosts the nutrient content but also improves the soil structure. Now let's talk about pH levels. Most shade-loving plants prefer slightly acidic to neutral soil. A pH test can help you determine the acidity or alkalinity of your soil. If the pH is off, you can adjust it using lime to raise the pH or sulfur to lower it. When it comes to moisture, balance is key. While many shade-loving plants prefer moist conditions, they don't like to be waterlogged. Good drainage is crucial to prevent root rot and other moisture-related diseases. Soil testing methods like touch and feel or using a soil testing kit can help you understand your soil better. They can reveal the texture, structure, and nutrient content, guiding you on how to improve it. Remember, a well-nourished plant is a happy plant. And with the right soil and moisture balance, your shade garden will be a thriving green oasis. Choosing the right plants for your shade garden can seem daunting, but it doesn't have to be. A world of lush, shade-loving plants is waiting to transform your garden's gloomiest corners into a verdant paradise. Let's take a closer look at some of these botanical wonders. First up, we have ferns. With their feathery fronds and hardy nature, ferns are true champions of the shade. They thrive in dappled light and damp soil, creating a lush green backdrop that's both tranquil and captivating. Next, let's talk about hostas. These leafy perennials are a must-have for any shade garden. With their broad, heart-shaped leaves and myriad of colors from deep green to vibrant chartreuse, hostas bring a pop of color that brightens up any shady spot. And then we have hydrangeas. These flowering shrubs are the drama queens of the plant world, flaunting large, showy blooms in a range of enchanting colors. While they do require some sunlight, many varieties are happy to bloom in partial shade, offering a splash of color amidst the green. But these are just a few examples. There's a wide array of shade-loving plants out there, each with its own unique charm and characteristics. From the delicate lily of the valley to the striking Japanese maple, the options are endless. With the right selection, your shade garden can be just as vibrant as any sun-drenched landscape. So don't shy away from those shady corners. Embrace them and watch as your garden transforms into a lush green oasis. Planting shade-loving species isn't rocket science, but a few tips can go a long way. The magic starts with the right technique, and in the next minute and a half, we'll cover all you need to know. Firstly, consider the planting depth. This is critical for your plant's survival. As a rule of thumb, the hole should be twice as wide and just as deep as the root ball. This gives your plant plenty of room to establish its roots in the new environment. Next up is spacing. Proper spacing is essential for healthy plant growth. Cramming plants together may seem like a good idea for an instant lush look, but it can lead to competition for resources and increased susceptibility to disease. So, give your plants room to breathe. The ideal distance varies with each plant species, so be sure to do your homework. Now, let's talk about soil. Place your plant in the hole, making sure the top of the root ball is level with the soil surface. Backfill with a mix of native soil and compost, firming gently around the base to eliminate air pockets. Last but not least, water generously. Newly planted specimens need plenty of water to settle in and start their new life in your shade garden. And there you have it, a step-by-step guide to planting in the shade. Remember, your plants are living beings. They need care, consideration, and a little bit of love. With these techniques, you'll be a shade gardening pro in no time. Maintaining a shade garden may require a bit of finesse, but the rewards are well worth it. Let's navigate the nuances of caring for shade-loving plants. First up, we have pruning. This is a vital part of plant care that helps to stimulate healthy growth and maintain the shape of your plants. For most shade plants, late winter or early spring is the ideal time to prune. Remember to remove dead or diseased branches first, then focus on shaping the plant to your preference. Next, let's talk about deadheading. This essentially means removing spent flowers from your plants. Not only does it keep your garden looking neat, but it also encourages more blooms. Some plants like hostas don't require deadheading, but others like hydrangeas will greatly benefit from this practice. Now, onto disease prevention. Shade gardens can be prone to fungal diseases due to the cool, damp conditions. To prevent this, try to water your plants in the morning so the sun can dry the leaves throughout the day. Also, make sure your plants have enough space for air circulation, as this can deter the growth of fungus. Finally, don't forget to feed your plants. Shade plants generally need less fertilizer than their sun-loving counterparts, but a light feeding in the spring can give them a healthy boost. With regular maintenance, your shade garden will continue to flourish and impress. Now, isn't that worth a bit of finesse? Designing a shade garden is where the real fun begins. It's all about playing with different elements to create a visually appealing space that invites both admiration and relaxation. The key is to focus on color contrasts and varied textures. Consider the palette of your garden. A shade garden doesn't have to be just shades of green. There are many shade-loving plants that offer a burst of color. Imagine the dark, glossy leaves of a fern contrasting with the delicate, pale blooms of a bleeding heart, or the vibrant hues of impatiens popping against the variegated foliage of a hosta. Textures, too, play a crucial role in the aesthetics of your garden. The smooth, broad leaves of a hosta next to the delicate fronds of a fern create a beautiful contrast. The rough bark of a tree can be offset by the soft, feathery plumes of a stilbe. And don't forget about height. Use taller plants like hydrangeas or rhododendrons as a backdrop for shorter plants like lungwort or foamflower. And finally, let's talk about transformations. Visualize a dark, unused corner of your garden. Now imagine it teeming with life, filled with lush foliage and vibrant blooms. This is the power of shade gardening. With a bit of creativity, your shade garden can become a stunning visual treat.